A very good evening to you and welcome to Idea TV News at 9. I am Cynthia Basse. We begin with the headlines. TCN announces 4-day power outage in ONDO region. Nigeria boosts digital infrastructure with satellites and fiber expansion. Gabon advances digital archiving to boost public sector efficiency. Global passenger traffic to rise 4.9% in 2026, Africa leads growth. And South Africa cuts part Nigerian High Commissioner over unpaid bills. Ivory Coast reorients school system towards skills and jobs. And away from Africa, Trump launches $12 billion critical minerals stockpile to boost U.S. manufacturing. And in business, federal government disburses 2.45 trillion naira to states for infrastructure and security. In sport, Ronaldo to miss AL-NASSR. And now the news in full. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has announced a planned 4-day power outage affecting parts of Ondo State beginning today, Monday, and running through Thursday, February 5th to this year. The outage will impact Okiti Pupa, Ondo Town, and surrounding communities supplied by the Benin Electricity Distribution Company. TCN says the disruption is due to a scheduled preventive maintenance exercise at the Ife Ondo 330 over 132 kilovolt and 132 over 33 kilovolt transmission substation to be carried out daily between 8 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. According to the company, the work involves replacing aging transmission equipment, including the installation of a new wave trap and upgrading transmission towers aimed at improving reliability and strengthening the national grid. TCN has apologized for the inconvenience and says electricity supply will be restored immediately after the maintenance is completed. In another news, Nigeria is accelerating efforts to strengthen its digital infrastructure with the planned launch of 2 new communication satellites and an expansion of the nationwide fiber optic network. Officials in Abuja announced today that the national fiber optic backbone, which will eventually stretch over 90,000 kilometers, is now approximately 60% complete. The rollout aims to improve connectivity for homes, businesses, and public institutions across the country. The initiative is part of Nigeria's broader strategy to enhance broadband capacity, lower internet costs, and support the growth of the digital economy, positioning the country for greater access to online services and technological development. Gabon is moving forward with a regulatory framework for digital archiving aimed at modernizing public administration. A draft ordinance approved on Sunday, January 29th this year, set rules for creating, preserving, and managing electronic documents while overseeing service providers involved in digitalization. The initiative is designed to improve the organization's security and accessibility of administrative records, reduce data loss, and enhance efficiency and transparency across public institutions. Local companies have been engaged in stakeholder workshops held since mid-2025 to establish a secure and integrated system for managing judicial and administrative documents. Officials acknowledge that the cyber security remains a challenge as technical capacity and coordination gaps persist. The new framework seeks to balance efficiency and accessibility with strong safeguards to protect sensitive government data, reinforcing Gabon's ongoing digital transformation agenda. Still in African news, the International Air Transport Association, or IATA, says global passenger traffic is expected to grow by 4.9% in 2026, slightly below last year's growth, while cargo volumes are projected to rise 2.4%. The forecast was announced today by IATA Director General Willie Walsh at the Changi Aviation Summit in Singapore. Africa is expected to outperform the global average, with passenger traffic projected to grow 6%. However, profitability remains a challenge for the continent's airlines, which face high operating costs. Aging fleet, restrictive regulations, and low passenger numbers, leaving net margins in the red despite rising demand. IATA notes that while capacity is expected to expand by 5.7% in Africa, airlines' earnings will remain constrained. In Nigeria, domestic carriers carriers earn just 8 naira per kilometer on flights that cost over 100 naira per kilometer to operate, highlighting the continued pressure on profitability despite rising passenger traffic. Electricity to the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria, South Africa was disconnected on Monday over unpaid municipal utility bills. The action was confirmed by the City of Tshwane Executive Mayor Nasifi Moya, who said the city would restore power once the outstanding debt was settled. The disconnection underscores operational challenges facing Nigerian diplomatic missions abroad, many of which have struggled with funding gaps, administrative delays and leadership vacancies since May 2023. Several embassies have been operating without substantive ambassadors, slowing decision-making on routine obligations such as utilities and staff welfare. The City of Tshwane defended its action, noting that diplomatic properties are not exempt from paying for services consumed. Following payment, the city confirmed that electricity would be reconnected, highlighting the need for well-funded and efficiently managed missions as Nigeria seeks to strengthen its diplomatic presence and international relations. Ivory Coast's new Education Minister, Nguessan Kofi, has unveiled plans to align the country's school system more closely with skills development and labor market needs. Speaking at his inauguration on Friday, January 30, 2026 in Abidjan, Plateau, he said national education, literacy and technical training will be central to economic growth and social inclusion. The minister highlighted the need to strengthen coordination between foundational learning, technical education, and job placement while emphasizing the teacher-student relationship as a key driver of performance. He also reaffirmed his commitment to implementing recommendations from the National Education and Literacy Conference launched under his predecessor. Despite improvements in enrollment, primary enrollment exceeding 105% and secondary enrollment at about 82%, Ivory Coast faces high adult illiteracy, particularly in rural areas. Literacy campaigns between 2024 and 2025 helped over 4,600 adults acquire basic reading and writing skills. A foundation, Kofi says, will be expanded under his new policy direction. We'll now take a quick break. The news continues when we return.
Smart apps. Smart apps leverage AI and machine learning to provide personalized user experiences and automate tasks. These apps are being used across sectors like finance, healthcare, and retail to improve customer engagement and operational efficiency. For example, smart investment apps offer tailored financial advice, while healthcare apps assist in diagnostics. However, data privacy remains a concern as these apps collect sensitive user information. The market for smart apps is projected to grow to $62.4 billion by 2025.
Good to have you back. This is Idea TV News at 9. Now, the rest of the news. Away from Africa, the U.S. President Donald Trump is launching a $12 billion strategic stockpile of critical minerals to support American manufacturing and counter price manipulation by China. The initiative, called Project Vault, will combine $12 billion in funding, including a $10 billion loan from the U.S. Export-Import Bank to acquire and store lithium, nickel, rare earths, and other essential minerals for automakers, technology companies, and defense industries. The stockpile is designed to stabilize supply chains, reduce market risks for private companies, and maintain a 60-day emergency reserve of key materials. Project Vault will involve major U.S. corporations, including General Motors and commodities trading firms, to manage procurement. Officials describe the project as a model that allows bulk purchasing while keeping risk off corporate balance sheets. The move reflects Washington's broader strategy to strengthen domestic mining and processing, ensuring that U.S. manufacturers have reliable access to strategically important minerals. The stockpile is expected to bolster domestic industrial capacity protect national security and enhance competitiveness amid global supply volatility. In business news now, the federal government has disbursed a total of 2.45 trillion naira to state government and the Federal Capital Territory to support infrastructure development and security projects. And August 2025, according to the Office Accountant General of the Federation. A special intervention program infrastructure gaps and strengthening subnational security. However, civil society groups infrastructure development in some states. The government continues to fund major projects including a 1 trillion naira metropolitan rail service in Kano State designed to modernize urban transportation and stimulate economic activity. Now finally in sports news, Cristiano Ronaldo will not feature in AL-NASSR Saudi Pro League match against Al-Riyadh today, despite being fully fit and available for selection. Reports say the decision follows growing frustration from the Portuguese forward over the club's direction and support, particularly after a quiet January transfer window. Ronaldo is said to be unhappy that Al-NASSR have not received the same level of backing as title rivals, with the team still chasing its first since his arrival. The omission is widely seen as a statement of protest rather than a fitness issue. Al-NASSR are expected without their captain for the fixture as attention turns to how the club responds to questions about its ambitions and policy. And that's all we have for you on Idea TV News at 9. But before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. We brought to you news that TCN announces 4-day power outage in ONDO region, and Nigeria boosts digital infrastructure with satellites and fiber expansion. Gabon advances digital to boost public sector efficiency. Global passenger traffic to rise by 4.9% in 2026. Africa leads growth. Views. An Ivory Coast reorients school system towards skills and jobs. Away from Africa, Trump launches $12 billion critical minerals stockpile to boost U.S. manufacturing. In business, federal government disburses 2.45 trillion naira to states for infrastructure and security. And finally, to meet a league match. Now, do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Cynthia Bassi. Thank you for watching.